And the last one we're going to talk about them as a pair because there are two ones that we could do kind of quickly.
Hmm.
We have um, I believe it's a Voyager Starscream, and John
One second.
Warden
Let me just.
kind of messed with this one a bit in one of the videos I saw, and he made a mention how he's going to have like the gimmick with the Voyagers from this Power of the Primes
Mm.
is they're going to have like armor that you could put on them and stuff.
Okay.
And I mean, that's why a lot of people have been looking like, why is the Starscream so bulky looking and everything?
Well, I
Um,
thought they were trying to homage Mega Man. That's what I was going with.
I don't know
The
about
big,
that.
the oversized.
The
Well, I mean,
Inafune design.
like just the oversized boots for the feet, oversized fists.
Yeah, it's
You know,
Inafune's style of. I don't know.
it's doable.
Me personally, like it's just me going like, me just going like, oh, another Starscream, and then the inevitable sea of repaints that we're gonna.
Yeah, easy money. Hey, we were just talking about that, no?
Yeah.
Like, how would you remake this? How would you? Easy.
Well,
It
that's
just
what. Well,
prints itself.
anytime you do a seeker jet, you're guaranteed like again like, and it's not even just the three. It's then going like, you could even do a lazy maroon repaint and just call it thrust and not give it a cone head. Like they
Oh,
could
what
even get
about
away with it.
acid storm?
Or yeah, acid storm or sunstorm.
Suns, yeah.
Do some yellow, do some orange, do some like or do some like green. Even if you want to like do slipstream, just a bulky slipstream. Like it,
They should
it
do like a box set and call it Skittles.
well, that's just it. Like it's the colors of the rainbow, where it's just like there's anything that they could do with this mold now. So it's always an easy bet, but it's more so the direction that we could look at this is from the storytelling standpoint, and we're told that there's some kind of thing going on with armor and stuff with the power of the primes. I don't know what Japan will do with this. They might even just skip over this one. They might just go like, well, there's only so much you could do with this because they already have like a proper Starscream. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they'll think of something. Sometimes Sakamoto will look at it and go, we could do G2 Starscream with these colors, where it's like the lighter kind of like orangey red on the chest, or they could maybe make it Action Master Thundercracker, which has absolutely ugly colors, but
Mm.
there's different directions they could go with this and do something wacky on the
Like,
Japanese side. But I mean, from what we're looking at, it looks like there's some kind of armor that's clipped on. But again,
I'm looking at the toy and then I'm comparing it to the CGI render
hmm
on the other page, and it almost feels like they didn't pull out the legs more. Because like when I look at it, I'm like, oh, that's a Voyager class. I thought it was a deluxe
it
class.
does look like
But
a short
but
Voyager. I do
I
agree.
think the legs didn't pull out all the way to make it taller. And then also when you look at the CGI render for like the reveal, he comes. There's these two black objects kind of things. There's these two black things, and his side guns are kind of plugged into them and put on his arm.
Well,
Are you
that's
seeing
why.
it?
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
That's where, because
And you're not
John
seeing it
Warden, he made a mention of it, but he didn't show it in the videos that I saw. That there's this armor gimmick that's going to work
right.
with the Voyagers, and it's going to continue on with the other Voyagers that we'll get later. And that's why like there's some images where it's like, wow, he's got really like thick ass fists. Like, is that the armor, or is that just how his fists are naturally?
Yeah.
It looks like on the side of his fist that there's peg holes there.
Hmm.
That maybe they work with something. This I do agree. It looks like he's kind of half transformed, or he was rush transformed. Like, especially
Right.
because you see the left fist, it doesn't look like it's clipped in like the right fist is.
Hmm. Hmm.
So it looks like something's going on there, or someone just put him together and didn't really think twice about it.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. And again, you look at his alt mode, and they have like the shot where it's like you could see it next to Jazz, and that's where like, oh wow, Jazz has he has a larger car than most people do. Because if that's supposed to be a Voyager jet, that Jazz is still pretty large. Like it's not bigger
Right.
than the jet, but it's a pretty big car.
Yeah.
So I'm this one is like probably the one I'm least interested in, and I love Starscream as a character, but I find that we get a great Starscream toy. I feel every 3 months, anyways.
I don't know. I
So,
think just a jet is easier to work with
oh, it is. It
than
is.
a specific car.
Well, considering like we were just saying, like Sky Shadow, there's a jet right there. Like, I mean, it's just jets are so easy. They're so versatile from the Transformers mythos, where it's like almost anyone could be a jet.
Yeah.
Like you could slap that on any character. Like if one day they decide to do Cybertronian Bumblebee and he's a jet, which they actually did with the Constructabots line, which I mean
Mm.
it's a bit of a stretch, but the Constructabots line had like a jet bumblebee, so it's just it's one of those alt modes that are just super versatile. And yeah, there is characters that are carefully, selected for that, whether it be a Star Saber or a Starscream or you know going into Jetfire and stuff like that, Skyfire. But
Mm.
at the same time, or even let's say you go into Power Glide with the more traditional biplanes and stuff like that and everything. But
Right.
and even like we were just talking about with in the case of Dreadwind and Darkwing, like I mean jets, jets, jets. There's so many iconic characters that are that. So I mean it's super easy just to do this Starscream and then down the line retool a head on it and call it a different character,
Hmm.
you know. And then the other one that we'll get into um, is then there's Beachcomber that's here, and Beachcomber also he's there to kind of represent what's happening with that scout scale that's going to be
Hmm.
happening, which is now the scout scale is it's still going to be more or less doing what the scout scale was before, but now it'll have cockpits where you could put your Titan masters to drive in, where the
Right.
previous scout scales a lot of them didn't have that gimmick. So it's cool that that exists, and also it's cool because Beachcomber really, man, like up to this point, he has, and I find it funny that it's taken this long because up to this point, Beachcomber really has not had a proper classics toy. Like, has not really had something that, I mean, I'm just even thinking from a registration standpoint. I mean,
Right.
because classics had like they had that tiny Beachcomber Legends figure, but
Hmm.
it looked like an army vehicle more than it did a dune buggy. Like anyone that goes back and looks up that, like, 'cause I'm looking at it on the shelf right now,
Right.
and I was just like, man, that thing looked like an army vehicle. It had a weapon on its roof, which yeah, because Beachcomber, the pacifist hippie, yeah, he needs that
Needs
gun
a
on his.
weapon. He totally
Like
needs a
it was
weapon.
such a weird toy. And again, sad thing, G1 Beachcomber. He had his original G1 toy. He had a G2 repaint. And then you fast forward 20 years, he has that mini classics legend, and then outside of a Creo, which was to keep the name, that was it. And I mean, yeah, the name was thrown around in Energon. I remember again, just like to keep the license.
Hmm.
But and I think there was also there was a Revenge of the Fallen toy too, which again was an army based vehicle. But this is like the first ever real true attempt at G1 Beachcomber. Like a really
Mm.
good, solid attempt at how he looked in the show and the chest sculpt and everything. And I like it a lot. And Beachcomber has always been a character I really enjoyed in the original G1 cartoon. I
Hmm.
found that while I like, of the 3 seasons, I like season one the best. I found season two, because it was more aiming to sell toys, there were some individual episodes that were really good. And the Golden Lagoon, which was a Beachcomber episode, was awesome, and it really fleshed out Beachcomber, and he was a really cool character. And I'm very happy that he's getting a proper toy after
Yeah.
getting some kind of hits or misses using his name in different venues. So
So is this one coming with a head?
I don't think it comes with a Titan Master. I think it's just there to show
Mm.
that because like again they want to keep that Scout price point, but up to this point, what we've had with Scouts have been, like within the Titan Return line, have either been repaints of previous stuff,
Right.
or just stuff that exists just to kind of go like, hey, like we did this and we haven't done anything with it yet, but we want
He's
to do
here.
something with it. Um, and yeah, like I mean, like to give you an example, like in the Titan Returns, we had like the last of the Insecticons put in there,
Yeah,
and
it's true.
like little things here and there. Or they did Chase to homage the Throttle Bots. They did a Bumblebee. It's always been just kind of the stick stuff in there. Um, so
It's
I mean,
kind of cool. It's kind of cool that the head kind of stays there, even in robot mode, which is like cool, but also kind of weird.
I think that's
But
just more just a product of
the gimmick,
no, a product of Beachcomber's transformation,
yeah,
because
it's very simple.
his transformation, the cockpit wasn't really affected by it.
Right.
Where someone like, say, trying to think of one of those old mini bots where the cockpit actually is kind of affected. Maybe someone like Bumblebee, I guess, where the
Mm.
cockpit would be on the front, so that would be kind of weird if he's
Do
just
you
kind
think
of
they would
hanging out.
probably do a? Do you think they'll probably do a Bumblebee or a Cliff Jumper
Oh, I think
or
I think
Gold Bug, etc., etc.?
they're probably going to look at what mini bots they haven't done yet,
Yeah.
or that have maybe like revisit Huffer, you know,
Mm.
revisit because I mean he hasn't really had like something in a while. So revisit him or revisit I don't know tailpipes or revisit. There's a lot of them that they could redo. Maybe even Warpath hasn't had some action in a while. So there's certain ones that they could
But
revisit and
but they nailed Warpath so well with that Generations one.
that was huge.
I remember I was like, all they have to do is do this, and then what was it? Um, GM fan was like, nah, they can't engineer that, and then boom, there it was,
Yeah,
called
well,
it.
I never say never with Transformers. That's one thing I've always learned now at this point is it's just I mean, again, if you would have told me a week ago, yeah, we're going to be seeing Pretender shells, I would have been like,
Mm.
wow, so soon? You know, like
If you were to say like, hey, remember that protector shell, that protect the third party protector, that's going to be a toy.
yeah, that's good.
Hasbro's going
Like
to come out
we're
with
going to
that.
have the Hasbro equivalency of that, Maybe not so much a parts former, but still we're going to have their answer to that like almost 8 years later.
Yeah.
It's just but again, I dig it. I dig the Beachcomber. That's definitely going to be a day one purchase because it's a small cheaper price point, and I don't mind paying for those.
Right.
You know,
Right.
like that'll be a day one purchase. Same thing with like even the Pretender shell stuff. Like all those mini guys, like I don't mind buying those at retail at full price because they rarely go on special anyways, and I
Mm-hmm.
don't feel as bad spending. In this case, like he'll be 9.99
Mm.
Canadian, and that to me that's not a rip off. Like I'll get my enjoyment out of that. Same thing with I think I'll get even more enjoyment from the Pretender shells, and they'll be like 7.99.
Right.
And those I've been waiting for forever to happen. So I'll definitely dig that. Anything you want to touch on Beachcomber?
No. He looks pretty cool. I like the details on his chest and then like the little stomach area.
Yeah, very very
And
show accurate. That's what I
yeah,
dig about
so
that.
I'm kind of digging that. Like the little details that he has for a scout, for a 2017 2018 scout. I'm very surprised by the little um, divots and dents on his body. I'm digging that, and then also on the tires, on the hubcaps. I'm quite surprised.
Yep.
I'm
And
honestly
and,
quite
and, and
surprised.
again that it's
Usually
a
they would try to phone it in and make it as easy as possible, but this one has a lot of little dents and details on it.
yeah, and that's why I'm very happy because they did kind of phone it in originally with the old classics line,
Mm.
or in this case it was Universe 2.0 at the time, but this time they didn't. This time it's a solid figure, and considering like up to that point, like third party was like the only way to get a really good Beachcomber toy. I think it was iGear that was doing them, all the
Mm.
mini bots.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so this is a great official example of that, and I think he looks great. I like again I love Beachcomber as a character. Derek Wyatt might say the opposite. That's actually one of his least favorite G1 characters. Um, but I mean
There's got to be someone that's about peace, man, and
yeah,
just wanting to fish.
he
You
just wants
know,
he's the goober
I
of toys.
just gotta have the fish, man. You just get your rod, man.
Just get a tea cozy on his head.